60 seconds. That's all Sydney Chen had to save her brother's life. The assassins were 3 floors below, their footsteps echoing through the abandoned warehouse like a death knell. The fire escape was blocked by a collapsed catwalk. The main door was sealed, and the power in Sydney's hands, the impossible, terrifying power she hadn't known existed until 5 minutes ago, was screaming to be unleashed. "Leo, stay behind me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Sydney, what's happening? Who are these people?" The shadows in the corner of the warehouse began to writhe. Sydney felt them responding to something deep inside her, an ancient pulse she'd never noticed before. The door exploded inward. 3 figures stepped through the smoke. They wore black combat suits, their faces hidden behind helmets that glowed with eerie silver light. "You cannot run from destiny, Shadow Guardian," the lead figure said. "Surrender, and your family will be spared." "I don't know what you're talking about," Sydney screamed. "Surrender," the figure repeated, "or die with your brother." The shadows around Sydney's feet exploded. 3 hours earlier, Sydney had been worried about her robotics midterm. The lead assassin lunged forward, a blade of pure darkness materializing in his hand. Sydney threw herself sideways, dragging Leo with her. The blade sliced through the air where they'd been standing, carving a deep gash in the concrete floor. "Run!" Sydney screamed at Leo. "Go through the emergency exit." Leo ran. She didn't know how she did it. But when the second assassin lunged, Sydney reached out with both hands and pulled. They rose like living things, wrapping around the assassin's blade and yanking it from his grip. Impossible. "The awakening begins,"
I see it now.
he breathed. "The eclipse is working. Tonight, the moon will bleed red,
I raise my blade.
and when it does, your true nature will be revealed.
The light.
We cannot allow that to happen." They attacked again, all 3 at once. Time slowed. She dodged the first blade, rolled under the second, and kicked the third in the chest, sending him flying across the warehouse. "The Shadow Guardian," the lead assassin gasped, struggling to rise.
I recognize you.
"She's already manifesting." She reached for the darkness again, and this time she saw it.
It's
A
connecting
web of
everything with
shadows
silver
connecting
energy.
everything in the warehouse.
It's beautiful and powerful.
She touched one strand and pulled. The shadows swallowed her. She felt herself folding through space, compressing into nothing and expanding into everything. Sydney crashed onto the roof of the building across the street.
What happened?
Sydney, are you okay?
Leo, I can't remember.
You just crashed. Stay still.
Everything's spinning.
"What? How?" Leo stammered. "We were on the other side." "I don't know," Sydney gasped.
What's happening?
"I don't know what's happening to me."
No.
Below them, the assassins emerged from the warehouse, searching the darkness for their prey. "We need to get
Leo,
to the
look,
university,"
university.
Sydney decided.
I see it, Sis.
"The archives.
I'm going.
I found something there.
Then
A
let's
journal."
go.
"Explain
Sydney,
what?"
tell me what's going
Leo
on.
demanded.
I need answers.
Leo,
"Sydney,
calm down.
you just
I don't know what
teleported
you're
through
talking
shadows
about.
and fought
Don't lie to
assassins
me.
with magic
Look at the moon.
blades.
What's happening to us?
Leo, please, you're scaring me.
I don't
Leo,
have time to
grab my
figure
hand
this out
now.
right now."
They're right behind
Sydney
us.
grabbed his hand.
This way, don't
"We
let
have to
go.
move. Now."
The stairs.
Jump now.
They ran across the rooftops, leaping gaps that should have been impossible, Sydney's new instincts guiding her feet. The city sprawled beneath them, a futuristic coastal metropolis of gleaming skyscrapers and floating transit lanes, holographic advertisements and ancient stone temples. Sydney had grown up here. She'd served coffee at the Neon Bean Cafe, attended lectures at the university, helped Leo with his algebra homework, and cared for her grandmother.
I finished the math problem.
She'd thought her life was ordinary, She'd been very, very wrong. She awakened her power. She saved her brother. But her mother is still out there. Part 2. The Journal. Coming soon. Subscribe to uncover the truth.